Welcome back to the video series. This is 15 of 19, talking about the 62 steps in creating and crafting the Signature Series pen. We move on now that the decal has been placed. The Mylar protective coat has now been removed, and on top of the decal, the raw decal, the shellac protection coat has been placed and dried. And so now you see me taking a 2000 grit sandpaper strip and very carefully sanding around the decal, which at this point in time is still what I would consider a raw decal, even though it's got a small, very thin shellac finish across the top of it. I'm being very careful not to dig down through that shellac coating, and at the same time it's really important to get the barrel as absolutely smooth as possible. So I'm being a little more aggressive as I get further away from the decals. And here I am barely just not putting any pressure at all as I move that barrel back and forth to sand smooth the shellac that's on top of the PJR Craftsman mark. I try to get any of the bumps or excess shellac that is collected around the decal, and again in the process of smoothing it out, at the same time not going through it. I can be a little more aggressive on the barrel like you see now in terms of smoothing the rest of the shellac that might have come across and further away from the decal area, and I can sand that down. I still don't want to go through the shellac, but I can be a little more aggressive of getting the high points with the 2000 grit sandpaper. One of the more recent things that I've done, because this video was shot probably, I don't know, 4 months ago now. Instead of using a 2000 grit sandpaper, I've started using a 4/0 steel wool. 4/0 being 0000, which is a very, very fine steel wool. And I've now converted over to using steel wool instead of a sandpaper strip. And I'm finding that to be, frankly, easier to work with and actually more effective at smoothing out the rough spots in the shellac overcoat of the decal and on the pen itself. But if you don't have a steel wool, then you know, a 2000 or higher grit is very safe to use. So the next part of this process, once everything is smoothed out, is to put a little dab, as you see there on a shop towel, of a very high viscous CA, a cyano acrylic, and just put a very thin, fast coat of CA on top of the decal areas. Right there with my fingers, you can see how fast it dries over the 62 step pen decal and over the PJR decal that the Craftsman mark is on top. Once I have the CA on there, once it's dried, which again is very, very quick, then I'm back to in this video, still using the 62 or the 2000 grit sandpaper, and I'm just barely, I'm virtually not putting any pressure on it here. I'm just passing it over to get any of the high spots that has come now because of the CA wipe on both sides of on both of the decal areas. I don't really need to go back over the rest of the barrel because the CA is only put on top of the decal areas, and maybe a 1/16 of an inch on either side of the decal. I try to make the rest of the barrel 100% natural finish with a walnut oil based friction polish, which will be coming up in the next video. But here I'm just smoothing out that CA, and again, but being very careful not to go through that CA. The CA helps to protect it on a permanent basis, which means that because this is going to be in daily use, or at least hopefully, normal wear and tear, if a fingernail scratches it somehow, that the decal won't come off, that it's protected from that daily use because of the CA. And I'm preserving the rest of the barrel to be a natural walnut oil or walnut oil based friction polish finish. So it feels like natural wood, it looks like natural wood, it is natural wood without a thick coat of acrylic CA on top of it. And you can see it's just, again, this Chechen is just gorgeous, gorgeous wood. And so it looks like it's coming to a final preparation stage for the next polishing process. So stay tuned for the next video, and I hope you're enjoying this and learning some of my processes. Thanks for coming, and remember, I'm returning wood and reconnecting people to their original and innate brilliance. Hope you're enjoying it.